What if I told you that one dating show, one runner-up couple, and one extremely loud comment section turned Nick and Alandria from just another Love Island USA Season 7 pairing into the most argued-about duo in the entire Love Island universe? Because when you put Ace, Taylor, Cierra, Huda, Nic, Olandria, the whole Nicolandria storyline, and the way fans ship couples on a dating show like Love Island together, you don't just get romance, you get full-time drama. And somehow, even months after the villa closed, people are still more upset about Nicolandria than about who actually won the show. Before we dive into why Ace supporters, Love Island Huda fans, Cierra fans, Taylor defenders, and even some Nick fans are all side-eyeing Alandria, do me one tiny favor. Tap that subscribe button like you're voting for your favorite Love Island couple in the app. It's free, it helps the channel, and the algorithm, low-key, ships you with us when you do. So how did we even get here? To understand why people are so pressed about Nicolandria, we have to rewind to the beginning of Love Island Season 7. On paper, it looked simple. Nick and Alandria walked into the villa as two separate islanders on day one, surrounded by a bunch of other singles, all hoping to leave with a partner and a prize. In reality, what we got was one of the most complicated, slow-burn connections the show has ever seen.
At first, Nick wasn't even with Alandria. He was coupled up with Cierra, and for a lot of people watching, that seemed like it could be the final two storyline. Meanwhile, Alandria was in her own separate chapter with Taylor. They had this besties with feelings energy that made a lot of viewers root for them as a different kind of Love Island couple. It was messy, interesting, and different from the usual day one, fall in love, never look sideways arc we normally see on a dating show. But here's where it gets complicated. Even when Nick was with Cierra and Olandria was with Taylor, everyone could see that Nick and Alandria gravitated toward each other. Little looks in the challenges, the way they talked to each other, the way their energy shifted whenever they were even standing near one another. Viewers online started saying, I don't know what this is yet, but I'm watching them. That's exactly how the Nicolandria fanbase was born, before they were an official couple, before they were runner-up, before any of the post-show brand deals. It started as a vibe that people could feel, but couldn't fully explain yet. Then came Casa Amor. Public votes, bombshells, and a million tiny decisions that all led to the same thing. Nick and Olandria eventually choosing each other. By the time they officially became Nicolandria, they'd already built this backstory full of missed timing, loyalty to other people, and a lot of, if this was a movie, they'd end up together energy. That's why fans latched on so hard. It felt like the show had accidentally created a slow-burn romance and then tried to catch up to it. And that's cute until the fan wars start. Because while one side of the internet was editing Nicolandria fan cams and writing Nick and Olandria forever in their bios, another side was building an entire case against them based on specific episodes, challenges, and arguments. A lot of that started with the early villa dynamics, especially anything involving Huda.
We all remember those moments. Emotional reactions, tears over challenges, confusion about loyalty in the early days when nobody technically owned anyone yet. There were scenes where Olandria was honest and direct, and those scenes got clipped, reposted, slowed down, recaptioned, and turned into a whole personality trait. From that point on, a certain chunk of the fandom decided that they didn't like her tone, didn't like how she handled certain conversations, and didn't like that she didn't shrink herself just to make other people comfortable. Now add in the heart rate challenge drama and the stand-on-business moments. Secrets were hinted at. Things got said in games that should have maybe been left off camera, and the villa became one big group chat where nobody could log out. The important thing here is not whether you personally think Olandria was right or wrong in any single moment. It's that the edit shows very specific clips to show us. Some people walked away thinking, wow, she's just honest and stands up for herself. And others walked away thinking, nope, I've decided I don't like her. From that point on, the hate pipeline was built.
And once people decide they don't like someone on reality TV, every new thing becomes proof. If she's quiet, she's cold. If she speaks up, she's too much. If she forgives someone, she's fake. If she doesn't, she's holding a grudge. You can't win. Meanwhile, we've got Ace and Chelley in the background. And this is where the plot thickens even more. Because Ace somehow ended up sitting right in the center of a lot of the post-Villa drama that still affects how people talk about Olandria today. There were interviews, comments, and moments outside the villa where Ace spoke on Nick and Olandria's relationship in a way that made it sound like it was just physical, just for the show, or just not that deep. And instead of keeping that strictly between him and Nick, those opinions got broadcasted to the entire internet.
Now, logically, if someone says something messy in an interview, you'd think the person who said it would get most of the backlash. But that's not how fandoms work. What actually happened was that a lot of people started aiming their frustration at Olandria. Some fans felt she didn't defend Chelley enough. Others felt Chelley didn't defend her. Suddenly, two women who were already dealing with their own online hate were being turned into opposite sides, all while the original comments from Ace slowly faded into the background. And it didn't stop there. Cierra's storyline added another layer of tension. Remember, she was the girl Nick was coupled up with before Nicolandria happened. After the show, she watched Nick and Alandria become the couple that everyone was talking about. Later, she shared openly online how painful it was to see that play out, especially when she felt like they didn't reach out afterwards. For her, it felt like realizing that a connection you thought was special didn't mean as much as you believed. That's a real feeling, and you don't have to hate anyone to admit that that would sting.
But once that story hit social media, it didn't stay a simple, this hurt my feelings story. It became another weapon for people who already disliked Nicolandria. Suddenly, every old clip of Cierra and Nick together was being used to argue that Nick and Olandria were wrong from the beginning, that their connection shouldn't have happened, or that someone stole someone's man on a dating show where the entire point is to date. Quick reminder, this is literally a show where people are supposed to explore different connections. It's not Marriage Island, it's Love Island. By the way, if you're still watching at this point, you're officially more loyal than half the couples who came through Casa Amor. So go ahead and hit subscribe real quick. Tap it like you're sending a recoupling text and you want to cause just a little bit of chaos. Then come right back, because we still have to talk about the fake storyline accusations and Olandria's glow-up.
So let's get into the "it was all scripted" theory, because this is a big reason some people feel comfortable hating on Nicolandria. At one point, a report came out claiming that the producers staged Nick and Olandria's connection, pushed them together, and basically built a storyline around what the audience wanted to see instead of what was actually happening. That report even called their arc one of the most forced storylines the show has ever done. Once that article went viral, it gave people who already didn't like them something they'd been waiting for, an official reason to call them fake. Anytime Nick and Alandria did anything sweet, you'd see comments like, "This is so scripted, they're still playing characters," or "Production clearly told them to do this." Even moments that seemed completely normal, like private jokes, hand-holding, or them planning dates together after the show, got filtered through this idea that nothing they did could be real.
But here's the twist. In their own interviews, Nick and Alandria have been surprisingly calm about the hate. They've basically said, we know what we have, and we're not rushing to put a label on it just because people on the internet want instant updates. They've talked about going on trips, meeting families, and taking their time. Not because they owe it to a fan base, but because that's how they want to handle their connection. So now we have two versions of reality. In one version, they're a completely fake storyline,
propped up by producers and clout. In the other version, they're two people who genuinely liked each other, finally got the chance to explore it, and then had to do all of that under a microscope. The truth is probably somewhere in the middle. Yes, producers absolutely shape what we see. That's literally their job. But feelings don't magically appear out of nowhere just because a camera is rolling. You can't fake every single side-eye, blush, inside joke, or late-night conversation. You can frame it, you can guide it, but you can't program it like a robot.
And this brings us to the part that really sends people over the edge. Olandria's glow up. Because, let's be honest, if she had walked out of that villa, disappeared into regular life, posted a few had fun on the show photos, and never really popped again, a lot of this hate would have died down already. But that's not what happened. Instead, Olandria walked out of a reality dating show and into a completely different lane. She signed with a major digital talent agency. She started booking campaigns with fashion and beauty brands. She did bikini shoots, lifestyle shoots, food collabs, and partnerships that sold out in minutes, including a lip product with Nick that literally had Nicolandria branding and flew off the shelves.
Then came the events and awards. She shows up on red carpets, she's honored at shows that recognize rising public figures. She sits on lists of creators and personalities who are shaping culture right now. She even lands magazine covers, including a digital cover where the whole story is about how she went from just another girl on Love Island to someone people see as an inspiration. Every time one of those milestones hits, a new campaign, a courtside appearance at a basketball game, another editorial, the same cycle happens. Her fans celebrate. People who feel represented by her get excited. Nicolandria fans say, "We told you she was that girl." And the haters log back in like, "How is she still everywhere? I'm tired of seeing her. She doesn't deserve this."
But that's the thing. A lot of this anger isn't really about the show anymore. It's about the fact that the person some viewers dismissed, doubted, or actively disliked is now the one winning, the one on stage, the one on the cover, the one walking in with Nick to major events while other Islanders quietly fade into the background. It's the classic, "you were never supposed to be the star and now I have to watch you shine" problem. And fans can't just say, "I'm jealous." So instead they say, "She's fake. She's calculated. She's doing too much. Her relationship isn't real. She only got this because of the edit." Or they act like supporting another Islander automatically means they have to drag her. That's why Nicolandria fans stay on the front lines defending her. They've watched her go from being heavily criticized in real time during the show to becoming a favorite for brands, media outlets, and new audiences who didn't even watch Love Island but know her from campaigns and covers. For them, it's not just about shipping a couple. It's about watching someone grow under pressure and choosing not to crumble.
Quick breather. If you're still with me, first of all, you're iconic. Second, if you haven't subscribed yet, this is your sign. Hit that subscribe button like you're sending a "we need to talk" text after Casa Amor. It scares the algorithm just enough to pay attention. Now, here's the part of the conversation people avoid, the human side. Because it's easy to say, "Well, she's famous now, she can handle it," or "she signed up for this." But no one signs up for hate every single day. Nobody signs up to wake up, open their phone, and see thousands of strangers dissecting their body, their relationships, their friendships, their career moves, their facial expressions, and their every decision. Think about how many different fan bases are throwing something her way on any given week. People who preferred other couples, people who didn't want Nick to move on from Sierra, people who were all in on Taylor, people who put other Islanders on a pedestal and are mad that the industry chose Olandria instead. People still replaying old Villa arguments like they happened yesterday. It's nonstop.
And at the center of all of it is one person who, at the end of the day, is just a regular human being with a phone in her hand. Yes, she has brand deals and glam teams now,
But she also has group chats, late-night scrolling habits, and real feelings. Even if she never publicly responds, she sees things. Her friends and family see things. And that kind of constant negativity can wear down anyone. The scariest part is that internet culture has turned joking and dragging into entertainment. People will quote tweet, stitch, duet, and meme someone until it feels like they're not even a real person anymore, just a character put there for everyone else to laugh at. But when you strip away the cameras, the edited episodes, and the comments, there's still a real person sitting there trying to make sense of why so many people seem to be rooting against her. So when you ask, why are people so mad at Olandria's success, the answer is layered. Some people are upset because their favorite Love Island story didn't end the way they wanted.
Some people are projecting their own insecurities and frustrations onto a girl they've never met. Some people just dislike whoever the internet is currently obsessed with. It doesn't even matter who it is. And some people are genuinely worried about certain dynamics they saw on TV, but instead of expressing that with nuance, they pile on to whatever hate trend is trending that week. But here's what matters. The numbers, the brand deals, the covers, and the continued support show that not everyone feels that way. There are thousands of people who love Nic and Alandria, who see Nick and Olandria as one of the more unique Love Island couples we've had in a while, and who respect the way they've handled pressure and expectations. At this point, Nick and Olandria don't need to prove their relationship to anyone. If they stay together, that's their story. If they eventually part ways, that's also their story. What's not up for debate is how much impact they've already had on Love Island USA as a whole. They walked in as two strangers on a dating show and walked out as a couple with real-world opportunities, a massive fan base, and a whole lot of people still talking about them long after the season ended.
So the next time you see Nic and Alandria trending, or you see a new brand deal or a new courtside clip, ask yourself, do I actually have a valid concern? Or am I just annoyed that the person I decided to dislike is still winning? And if you're someone who genuinely cares about mental health, about online culture, and about the way we talk about real people, then maybe the move isn't to add another snarky comment to the pile. Maybe it's to log off, or at least scroll past without adding fuel to the fire. Because at the end of the day, reality shows come and go. Couples rise and fall, ships sail and sink. But the way we treat real people online is something that doesn't just disappear when the season ends. Nic and Olandria didn't win the prize money, but in a weird way, they might have won something bigger: longevity. People still care. People are still watching. People are still arguing. And whether you love them, hate them, or are secretly doom-scrolling their updates while pretending not to care, you can't deny one thing. Nic and Alandria left the villa, but the storyline never really ended.
If you made it all the way to the end of this video, you are officially part of the few, the loyal, the "I actually watched the whole thing" club. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button like you're confirming a recoupling text. Quick, a little dramatic, and absolutely necessary. Drop your thoughts about Nic, Olandria, Ace, Taylor, Cierra, Huda, and the whole Love Island Season 7 saga in the comments. And tell me, are you Team Nic and Alandria, Team Leave 'em alone, or Team I'm just here for the drama? Either way, thanks for watching. Take care of yourself and maybe take it a little easier on the people on your screen.